Welcome back to the beginner's course for consultants. So in the previous lesson I explained what are the steps actually for you to launch your consultancy, and one of the first steps was really to define your niche. Now, why is this important? Because there is a very big competition in the consulting business, and if you do not have a specific area where you'll focus, then you'll most probably fail in your business. For example, there are thousands and thousands of ISO 27001 consultants out there, and if you are not differentiating in something versus those competitors, then it will be very hard for you to compete. So in this video, I'll explain you how to use your experience and your expertise to define your niche, also how to analyze the market to help you define where you can compete, and then how to choose the niche based on these input information. And finally, how to position yourself within this niche. In other words, how to differentiate your consultancy versus the competitors. So after you watch this lesson, you'll have a clear idea on how to start analysis and decision-making process for defining your niche. So how does a niche for a consultant look like? I'll give you an example from my own career. So back then, when I started as a consultant, I started as ISO 27001 consultant, so I went through the courses and so on. I had previous experience working in a bank, and I also had these skills in organizing things. And the thing is, at that time, the central bank introduced several strict cybersecurity rules upon all the banks in my country. So what I did, I actually started offering consulting services for complying with these strict cybersecurity rules using ISO 27001. And since I was one of the rare consultants in my country which actually had experience both with banking and with cybersecurity, it was rather easy for me to penetrate that market. So once you focus on a particular niche, it actually uses your strength and your expertise, and also reduces competition, because your potential clients see a clear value in hiring especially you and not someone else. So how do you identify your strengths and your expertise? You simply have to take a look at what you are the best at, what you were doing in your career. So for example, if you are, let's say, an engineer working in a specific type of a manufacturing company, then you probably do have some specific insight into this very specific type of manufacturing. And this means that you could, for example, offer ISO 9001 implementation services for that specific sector. You should also analyze if you have deep technical skills for, let's say, IT. You might go more in the direction of cybersecurity consulting for particular technologies. Whereas if you are better on this organizational side, you can then go towards governance frameworks, most of these ISO standards and these regulations like NIS2 and DORA. And then you should analyze the market and identify what opportunities are there for you. And as the first thing, analyze where the demand is actually growing. So for example, in the AI area, many companies in the near future will have to comply with EU AI Act, but also potentially with ISO 42001. And there are not many consultants out there who actually offer this kind of a service. So this might be a potential niche for you. So by analyzing a market in such a way, you can actually find a niche that is a very good fit for you, but also where the competition is not too strong. And then you should also analyze your competitors and how they differentiate versus other consultants, so that you do not go head to head towards them. Rather, you should find some other, let's say, approach and position your service slightly differently from them, so that actually there is potential clients know exactly why to choose you over a competitor. And then when choosing your niche, you should combine a couple of things: your experience, your skills, the market demand, but also your passion, because you don't want to end up in an industry which doesn't really interest you. So this is something you have to be passionate about, that you want to pursue over a number of years. So for example, you might be passionate about AI, as I am as well, but that you're, let's say, an expert in medical device, and then that you actually combine these two things and offer to your clients a combination of ISO 13485 and ISO 42001. And of course, you will need to validate if this niche is a good one, and you will only find this out once you start actually offering this service and delivering a couple of projects. And then after that, you can re-evaluate if this is a good match. And then finally, you have to position yourself within this particular niche, and you actually do it by creating a clear value proposition for your clients. So going back to this example, if you're an engineer in a particular manufacturing industry, then you can say to your potential clients, look, I'm the only actually consultant that worked with this particular technology and this manufacturing process, so I can implement you ISO 9001 the quickest and actually with the least amount of trouble. And that's really the best way to convert new clients. Okay, hope this was helpful, and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions on how to define your consulting niche, and I'll answer as quick as I can. And here are a couple of materials that will help you learn more, and you'll find the links below the video. First of all, you'll see this advanced course for consultants where I explain some further techniques on how to define your packaging of products and how to sell them. And then there is also this Secure and Simple podcast. This is a podcast where I interview successful consultants, and where you will notice that all of these consultants that are successful are actually having a specific niche that where they focused on. Also, on Advisera website, you'll find this webinar that explains how to sell consulting services. So if you want to watch this webinar, this is also available. And in the next lesson, I'll explain how to build your credibility as an expert through various courses and certificates. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel not to miss any of my new videos. And I publish videos about cybersecurity and compliance every week. Thanks for watching.